There was a little boy saw some workers repairing the church roof and asked, "What are they doing, Mom?" She said, "They are fixing God's house." The boy thought for a moment and said, "Oh, good, that's good. Maybe they should fix the leak of his restroom as well." Here's another one. I have to make sure you laugh. Sometimes I think the priest, he kind of spoke this to the parishioners. Sometimes I think God must have a construction crew that works full-time on us. He is constantly saying, this wall has to come down, that floor needs reinforcing, that window needs to let more light in. And then one parishioner replied to that priest, "Father, I think God has been remodeling me for years and I'm still under construction." We can be like that parishioner as well. Brothers and sisters, today we are celebrating the feast of the St. John Lateran, which is known for the first church, the mother of all churches, and also the seat of Pope is there. And we might be thinking, why are we here in Denver talking about the church in Italy? This feast is not just about an old building in Rome. It is about who we are as the Church of Christ right here, right now. And I really kind of love it. This is a great reminder. Wherever you go to other places as well, in order to fulfill the Sunday obligation, you kind of Google, you look for the Catholic church nearby, and then you just kind of go there in and fulfill the Sunday obligation. And what a kind of great, image. We are in one big family. All of us have the same faith. St. John Lateran is the oldest church in Rome, built in 4th century by Emperor Constantine, and mother and head of all churches in the world. But here it is. The Basilica in Rome reminds us that church is not just a building we go to. It is a family we belong to. Every parish, every chapel, every mission from Rome to Denver here, from the Vatican to our own risen Christ Catholic parish, is connected in that same faith, same spirit, and same foundation. And isn't it amazing? It is amazing, and it is beautiful. And the church Jesus built, kind of giving the ministry, doing the ministry, and purifying the souls all the time. In the first reading from Ezekiel, give us the beautiful image. The water coming out from the back of the church give lives. And then all the parishioners, all the faithful, come to the church in order to receive this living water. Go out of the church feeling alive. Not only we ourselves feel alive, but also where we out there to give life to other people. Prophet Ezekiel sees water flowing from the temple, give life wherever it goes. Beautiful image. That is what the grace of God does. His Spirit flows from the heart of the church. Everything it touches comes to life again. Receiving the Eucharist, coming for the confession, being baptized, doing the wedding, celebrating the funeral, in order to journey towards heavenly kingdom. Everything that comes out of church give new life. So once I was asked, "Father, are there salvation outside of church?" And right away, I remember what I learned from the seminary. And Father Angel Perez Lopez, he gave the great analogy. The analogy is very simple. The flowers being planted, the plants are being planted in the garden of God. Are they, nurtured properly, taken care properly, and they bloom beautifully, and they decorate the world beautifully, and they give the fruits to the earth, and they bear much fruit. But how about, in the desert? Will there be plants? Yes, there can be plants too. We know that, there can be plants too. Where there's oases, there can be, plants. But however, the chance is less. So brother and sister, being in the church, taken care by the church, the salvation is 100% guaranteed. So today, we are celebrating the feast of St. John Lateran, not kind of celebrating the pride of, how much hard work and how much we give. We are not celebrating our pride of this material building, but we are celebrating the faith that we have, and also, the living faith that we trying to kind of put it into actions. We are celebrating, and also being reminder of, to live our faith daily. And we live in the world where many people have forgotten that God wants to dwell with us. Not just visit us on Sunday, but live within us every day. That's why this feast matters. It reminds us that the church, whether it is huge basilica in Rome or our small parishes here and there, or is the visible sign that God has chosen to stay with us, to pitch his tent among us. And that's why our churches matter. The walls, the altar, the tabernacles, they are signs of God's love. But the most sacred space of all is not the church building, our heart. And, if we look at the building, it is very beautiful. But for me, the most important place for us to fix our eyes on is the tabernacle, the dwelling place of Jesus. And then the candle next to it is being lit all the time. As soon as it is kind of burning out, we change the candle, we lit it. We never, let the tabernacle without the light. So this really kind of remind us to live that way. We are the temple, as St. Paul mentioned, and our heart should be prepared all the time, being lit all the time for the Lord. But if we look at the St. John Lateran, how many times, it suffered under earthquake, and also because of the fire, had to do the renovations. So our life as well, the temple, and also the dwelling place of God, who we are, has to rebuild, renew, restore as well. So, when we have jealousy, anger, and also sadness, happiness, and also gossip, all the vices we have in our heart, that's going to resemble, what Jesus mentioned in the gospel reading today. Jesus entered the temple. He saw many changers. There are people who selling the oxen and doves and so on and so on. What did Jesus do? Jesus took the rope, made the cart, and then took the cart, and then make the whip, and drove them out of the temple. So brothers and sisters, do not worry. We can be like that. But however, with Jesus, we can rebuild, renovate, renew, restore all the graces which meant for us by Jesus Christ. So, brothers and sisters, while we are celebrating the feast of St. John Lateran, it tells us something profound. God is not far away. He is closer than we think, right here in his church, in the Eucharist, and in us.